Picture this. Two brilliant women walk into a boardroom. Same qualifications, same drive, same dreams. But instead of supporting each other, they're secretly calculating who's prettier, who's more likable, who the men in the room prefer. Sound familiar? Here's the disturbing truth. This isn't about jealousy or cattiness. It's about something far more sinister that Simone de Beauvoir exposed decades ago, and it's still destroying women today. What if I told you that every time women compete against each other, they're actually playing a rigged game, designed by a system that benefits from keeping them divided? What if the very traits we call feminine rivalry are nothing more than survival mechanisms in a world that only validates women through male approval? By the end of this video, you'll understand the toxic psychological trap that's been set for women for centuries, and more importantly, how to escape it. But first, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you felt threatened by another woman's success? Let's shatter the biggest lie ever told about women. You've heard it 1,000 times. Women are just naturally competitive with each other. It's biology. It's evolution. It's just how we're wired. But what if I told you this is complete bullshit? What if this natural rivalry is actually the most successful psychological manipulation in human history? Simone de Beauvoir dropped a truth bomb in 1949 that still makes people uncomfortable today. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Think about that for a second. What does it mean to become a woman? It means everything you think is naturally feminine. The competition, the comparison, the constant need for validation is actually learned behavior. It's performance art designed for an audience that will never truly see you as equal. Here's where it gets dark. For centuries, society has told women that their value comes from being chosen by men, by employers, by society itself. But here's the catch. There are only so many spots available at the top of this pyramid. So what happens? Women are forced into gladiator matches, fighting each other for scraps while the real power remains untouched above them. Beauvoir saw through this game. She realized that when women compete against each other, they're not competing for success. They're competing for survival in a system that deliberately limits their options. Every time a woman tears down another woman, she's unconsciously protecting her own fragile position in a hierarchy that was never designed to include her in the first place. But here's the question that will haunt you. If this competition isn't natural, then who benefits from keeping women divided? And why have we been so willing to believe the lie? Now we're diving into the rabbit hole that will change everything you thought you knew about female competition. Beauvoir called women the second sex, but this isn't just a catchy title. It's a psychological prison that's been built around women for millennia, and most don't even realize they're trapped inside it. Here's how the trap works. In a patriarchal system, women are defined not by who they are, but by their relationship to men. They become the other, always secondary, always competing for recognition from the primary sex. But here's the twisted genius of this system. It makes women police each other instead of questioning the system itself. Think about it. When was the last time you saw women competing over career achievements versus competing over who looks better, who's more desirable, who's the cool girl that men prefer? The system has trained women to see each other as threats rather than allies, because there's an unspoken understanding that there's only room for a few women at the table. Social media has weaponized this trap beyond Beauvoir's wildest nightmares. Instagram, TikTok, dating apps. They've turned female competition into a 24/7 performance where women are constantly measuring themselves against impossible standards. Every post becomes a battlefield. Every story a comparison. Every success a potential threat to someone else's position. But here's what's really insidious. The system makes women believe they're choosing this competition freely. I'm just trying to be my best self. I'm empowered by my choices. Meanwhile, they're unconsciously participating in their own oppression, fighting each other while the real power structure remains untouched. If you're starting to see the matrix for what it really is, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to go even deeper into this psychological warfare. And you'll need to remember where you heard this truth first. The question that should terrify you: what if every time you felt threatened by another woman, you were actually responding to a trigger that was programmed into you? This is where it gets really dark, And I need you to stay with me because what I'm about to reveal might make you question every female relationship you've ever had. We're talking about internalized misogyny, the moment when oppressed women become the enforcers of their own oppression. Picture this psychological mindfuck. You're trapped in a system that devalues you, but instead of fighting the system, you start devaluing other women to protect your own fragile position. You become the prison guard of your own cell. Beauvoir understood this twisted psychology better than anyone. She saw how women, desperate for survival in a hostile world, would turn on each other instead of turning on their oppressors. Here's how it plays out in real life. A woman slut-shames another woman for her sexual choices, but she's not really judging sexuality. She's protecting herself from being labeled the same way. A mother criticizes another mother's parenting, but she's not really concerned about the children. She's defending her own choices from the constant judgment she faces. A female boss undermines her female employees, but she's not really being mean. She's unconsciously ensuring that no other woman threatens the position she fought so hard to achieve. The most heartbreaking part? These women genuinely believe they're making independent choices. They don't realize they've internalized the voice of their oppressor so completely that it's become their own inner critic. They police other women with the same harsh standards that have been used to police them. Think about the language women use against each other. She's trying too hard. She thinks she's better than us. She's not like other girls. Every one of these phrases is a weapon forged in the fires of internalized oppression. Women have learned to speak the language of their own diminishment so fluently that they don't even hear the chains rattling. But here's the question that will keep you up at night. How many times have you been the enforcer of standards that were designed to keep you small? And more importantly, are you ready to stop? Here's where Beauvoir becomes dangerous to the status quo, because she didn't just diagnose the problem, she prescribed the cure. And, let me warn you, her solution is so radical that it threatens the very foundation of how society expects women to behave. Are you ready to hear what true female liberation actually looks like? Beauvoir's revolutionary insight was this: women must refuse to play the game entirely, not just change the rules, burn the whole fucking board. She called for women to transcend the artificial femininity that's been imposed on them and create their own authentic existence. But here's the catch. This requires something most people aren't willing to do: giving up the safety of conformity. Think about what this means in practice. It means refusing to compete for male approval. It means supporting other women even when it doesn't benefit you personally. It means calling out internalized misogyny when you see it, including your own. It means choosing collaboration over competition, even when the system rewards you for stepping on other women. But here's the terrifying truth. Authentic liberation is lonely as hell. When you stop playing the competition game, you lose the validation that comes from winning. When you refuse to tear down other women, you might find yourself excluded from conversations that bond women through shared judgment. When you support female success instead of feeling threatened by it, you challenge everyone around you to examine their own behavior. Beauvoir knew this. She lived it. She chose intellectual partnership with Sartre over traditional marriage. She chose career over motherhood. She chose authenticity over acceptance. And society punished her for every single choice while simultaneously benefiting from her brilliance. The real question isn't whether you can handle being free. It's whether you can handle the responsibility that comes with freedom. Because once you see the matrix, you can't unsee it. Once you understand how the game is rigged, you become responsible for refusing to play it. If this resonates with your soul, make sure you're subscribed, because this journey of awakening is just beginning. And you'll want to be part of this community that's choosing consciousness over comfort. So I have to ask, are you ready to pay the price for authentic freedom? Or are you still too attached to the safety of your beautiful cage? We've reached the moment of truth, and I need you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. After everything we've uncovered about Beauvoir's shocking revelation, after seeing how the system has manipulated women into competing against each other for centuries, there's only one question left. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Because here's the thing, awareness without action is just intellectual masturbation. You can understand every psychological trap, recognize every manipulation, see through every lie, But if you walk away from this video and continue playing the same toxic games, then nothing changes. The system wins, the oppression continues, and you become complicit in your own diminishment. Beauvoir didn't write The Second Sex so women could nod along and then go back to tearing each other down. She wrote it as a battle cry, a blueprint for revolution, a roadmap to authentic sisterhood. She envisioned a world where women would choose each other over the approval of their oppressors, where female success would be celebrated, not sabotaged, where collaboration would replace competition. But that world only exists if you choose to create it. Every time you support another woman instead of feeling threatened, every time you call out internalized misogyny instead of participating in it, every time you choose authenticity over performance, you're not just changing your own life, you're dismantling the entire system that depends on keeping women divided. The most powerful thing you can do right now is make a commitment. In the comments below, write the word sisterhood if you're ready to choose collaboration over competition. Write authentic if you're committed to refusing the performance of femininity that's been imposed on you. Write revolution if you understand that true change starts with how women treat each other. I want to acknowledge something incredible. You made it to the end of this video. That means you're not afraid of uncomfortable truths. You're not satisfied with surface-level explanations. You're ready to do the deep work of transformation. That makes you dangerous to a system that depends on unconscious compliance. Beauvoir once said, "The point is not for women to take power out of men's hands, since that wouldn't change anything about the world. It's a question precisely of destroying that notion of power. The revolution starts with you. The question is, are you ready to be free?"